Welcome back to Apex Legends. This time you're just going to see gameplay in the background from a stream, and I'm going to be talking to you because a couple of people come into my stream and asked for some tips on the game because they're struggling, they're not playing so well, they can't get kills. So this is going to be the ultimate guide. This is every tip I can think of that's going to help you, and we're also going to be going through every ability for every single legend in this video because it's important that you know which abilities to use at which time, which character's best going to suit your playstyle. So we'll start with the legends, we'll get them out of the way. We're going to go in order from top left to bottom right, and the first one is Bloodhound. He is a tracker. His passive ability lets you see tracks that are left behind by enemies, so if there's someone that was in the area 10 seconds ago, you'll see their footprints on the floor. His tactical ability, you scan the area for hostiles. It just goes in front of you, and I'm not sure on the range, but it will reveal enemies, traps and clues and stuff through walls. So if there's someone camping in a corner and you use it, it will let you see through the walls. You can see that there's an enemy player there. And his ultimate enhances your tracking senses and it highlights enemies. So if there's enemies near you, you're using Beast of the Hunt, it's going to show you where the enemies are. And it's also going to enhance your tracking senses so that you get a better sense of direction as to where enemy players are as well. Gibraltar, he is a tank. His passive is when you're aiming down your sights with your gun, you're going to get a shield pop up on your arm. Sometimes this can go against you, sometimes it can help you out. It will help you out because it's an extra shield, it will block more incoming damage, but at the same time it's going to mess you up because it's a big orange shield that you'll see when an enemy's got the shield up, and it will basically highlight where you are. It's going to give your enemies a better shot kind of thing. His tactical ability is a big shield that goes up around you, it's kind of like a dome, and it blocks all incoming damage, but please be careful when you use this, because so many players seem to think it makes them invincible, but enemy players can come inside that shield and they can still hit you. So as long as the enemies are far away, it's going to help you out. But if they're close or they've got enough movement and zip lines to get to you quick, then there's no point reviving a teammate or anything in that shield, because players can come inside it and they can just shoot you. Gibraltar's ultimate is a defensive mortar strike, so you chuck a grenade and it's going to call in a massive mortar strike full of bombs. It deals a hefty amount of damage, and that is something good to use, but again, it's the ultimate, so it's not going to be something you use that often. But if there's a group of people, they're hiding out around the house or something, you can't get a good shot on them, chuck the nade over. The mortar strike has a very big radius, so that might come in useful for those of you that want to use the tank. But because Gibraltar is a tank, he's got slower movement, sometimes it can feel really sluggish. But someone actually mentioned in the comments that if you increase your field of view, so you put your field of view setting up, it makes Gibraltar feel less of a sluggish player. Next up we have Lifeline, which is my personal favourite. For the time being, I've been using her quite often. Her passive will allow you to revive your teammates faster. You can also use healing items faster, so if you've got a shield cell or something, you can use them quicker than any other character. And when you're reviving, you get a shield that forms around you. Not all the way around, it's kind of like just in front of where you're facing, but you do get the shield to block incoming damage on the person that's downed and yourself, so that comes in very handy. Her tactical ability is Dock the Healing Drone. If you press your left bumper on Xbox and you put the drone down, it's going to give cords off to players that are within range on your team, and they're going to be able to heal. It doesn't always give you back up to max health. If you and your full team have just run into the circle, and you're all low on health, instead of everyone rushing to use syringes and medkits, just put your drone down and it will heal your whole team. Lifeline's ultimate is something I love, and that is a defensive care package. These things come in a lot quicker than normal care packages, they don't take long to come in at all, but on the downside to it, it will let other teams know exactly where you are. If there's only you and 2 other squads left, they'll know exactly where you are if you call it in. Once it comes in, it can give you a range of different equipment. A lot of the time you're going to get a purple chest, helmet, or a knockdown shield. They are very helpful, and if you and one of your teammates already has one, you can still call it in, your team can come and pick them up. So Lifeline is a support sort of character, / healer. I've had so much fun using her recently. And next up we have Pathfinder, which is the other support / healer. Pathfinder's passive is you can scan survey beacons, so they'll be added to your map. You'll be able to see them. When you go up to them and you hold X or whatever your interaction button is, you can scan and it's going to show you the exact location of the next ring. So make sure you time it properly, because if you use it as the ring's coming in, it's just going to show you the next one. Whereas if that ring's coming in already and you use the survey beacon once it's come in, you're going to be another step ahead kind of thing. Pathfinder's tactical ability is a grappling hook. Not only can this be used to get you out of sticky situations, but you can do a Mortal Kombat Scorpion and you can drag your enemies towards you with the grappling hook too. And last up for Pathfinder is his ultimate. That is the zipline gun. You can create a zipline for your entire team to use, like any player in the game can use it, but it gets you to higher terrain than what you can normally get. And not only that, you can go up and down the zipline. So if there's somewhere really high up you want to get there because you've got a sniper, like you've picked up the Kraber from a care package, use the zipline. You can get up very, very high to places that people would never imagine, like they won't imagine you being there. Next up we have Rafe. Her passive is voices that warn you when danger's approaching. So if someone's looking at you, someone's close to you, you're going to hear voices. But it says, as far as you can tell, those voices are on your side. So it might sound like your team are talking to you, like because the characters have dialogue, they say stuff in game. Like Lifeline's always saying when a care package is coming in from an enemy team and stuff, but Rafe will know when there's players around you, you just have to pick up on the signals. Her tactical ability is Avoid. You can phase for about 5 seconds, you take no damage at all, but once you come out of that phase, it takes a second to get your gun back out, and there's a trail behind you so players will still know where you're going. It's just good to get yourself from cover to cover maybe. You'll kind of get used to it the more you use Rafe. And her ultimate is Rifts. You can create 2 portals. If you put the first one down, sprint, put the second one down and make the exit. Anyone in the game can use the portals, but that can also be a good one to get you out of a sticky situation. Then we have Bangalore. She's kind of like the default character, I would say. She's a DPS, the same as Rafe. Her passive is if you're taking damage or if there's shots coming towards you and you're sprinting, it's going to make you move faster. Not only will that put your enemy's shots off, but that will get you to cover a lot quicker. Her tactical ability is smoke grenades. They're good for reviving your team, they're good for getting out of a sticky situation. And then you have her ultimate, which is an artillery strike. The same as Gibraltar's mortar. You chuck a grenade, then it's going to fire down some bombs. This also has quite a big radius on it. Next up, the penultimate legend is Caustic. He's one that you have to unlock using Apex coins, which is the microtransaction, like the premium currency, or the red thing. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but it costs 12,000. He is a tank, so he's the same class as Gibraltar. His passive is going to allow you to see enemies through your Nox gas. His tactical ability is gas traps. You can set off 6 at a time, so you can have 6 placed anywhere on the map, and they will not disappear until they are triggered. Like once they're triggered and the gas has run out, they'll disappear. You can place more down. But you could put some down at bunker, you could run all the way to wetlands, then one of your traps can go off, you know that someone's in bunker. Enemies can't shoot them, they can only trigger them. You can shoot the bottom and disable them if you want to, but because they only get triggered by enemies that are within range, you will know where enemies are. His ultimate is the Nox gas bomb, so it's similar to Bangalore with her smoke grenades, well, like smoke launcher, and this sets off a massive cloud of gas. Anyone that's standing in it that's not on your team will take damage over time. And not only that, with his passive you can see enemies through it, so you can stand in there, use it as a smoke cloud and still see people on the other side. And this has taken a lot longer than I wanted it to, but I feel this needs to go in. It's an ultimate guide. But now we're on to the final legend, and that is Mirage. He's also another character that you need to unlock. You don't just get him by default like when you install the game for the first time. His passive is going to drop a decoy when you're knocked, so it's going to drop another what looks like you, but it's going to throw people off. So it might give your team enough time to go and take out the enemy team and then come and revive you. His tactical ability, if you press your left bumper on Xbox, it sends a decoy in the direction you're facing. And this is the only ability you can use when you're skydiving, like when you drop from the plane or whatever it's called. If you press your left bumper, it's going to send out decoys. And when you're first landing, if you do that, it's going to make enemy teams think that place is overcrowded, so they might turn off and leave you to it. Not only that, if you're under fire, it's quite good to send a decoy out because a lot of people fall for it. They will start shooting, so you'll know their exact direction. And his ultimate is you can actually get a circle of decoys to kind of spawn in around you, and then you cloak for like 5 seconds and you can get out of there. But the same as Rafe, you cannot shoot, and once you come back out of that cloaking, it's going to take a second for your guns to come back out. So now we're on to the actual tips and tricks. I didn't want that to be as long as it was, but it's stuff that you guys, especially those of you that are new to the game, need to know. So I've put these into 3 different categories. You've got pre-game, you've got the jump in, so kind of like where you start, you fall down to your location, your target, wherever you want to go. Then you've got like on the land, like on the ground, and just general tips and tricks kind of thing. But to start it off, sort your settings out. Make sure you are 100% comfortable with your sensitivity. I started the game playing on 4 and I was doing alright. But when I switched it up and started playing on 2, I did a lot better. A lot of you are going to be like, oh yeah, but lowering sensitivity doesn't make you that good of a player because you spin around so much slower. The good thing about it is it makes it easier to control the recoil. I would recommend playing on a high sensitivity, but if you're not doing well, start on a low and work your way up. Never ever start a game on a high sensitivity. Next up, you need to know your classes. So as I said when we spoke about the legends, Bloodhound is a tracker, Gibraltar is a tank, Lifeline is a support/healer, and Bangalore is DPS. Each one of the legends has a little symbol in the corner that will show you what type their character class is. And number 3 for the pre-game, this is actually the last one. The easiest class to use is down to personal preference. I could tell you that Lifeline is the best to use, that's my personal opinion, but a lot of you might hate using Lifeline. You might be in a team of players that someone already uses Lifeline, so you're going to have to get used to another character, and it just depends on your playstyle. I like Lifeline because I'm a team player, I like reviving people and stuff like that. That's where I get my enjoyment out of helping the team get back in the fight. Whereas some of you, like a couple of my mates, Andy and Gaz, they're bloodthirsty, they're slayers, they just go for kills all the time, which isn't a bad thing at all, but Rafe suits Andy better. Andy is always using Rafe. He doesn't use the abilities as much as he should, but Rafe is his character. You've just got to find a character that's going to do well for you. Now we have the jump in. There's only 3 tips for this one, and then the rest fall into the general kind of on the ground category. Launch solo. It's much easier to maneuver. Like if you're in a group, you've got comms, like you're talking to each other, then just drop solo, go to the same place. It just makes it easier to maneuver, and for some reason it feels a little bit faster. I'm not sure if that's an actual thing. Number 2, Dolphin Dive. So instead of just flying straight towards your target, look down to the ground a little bit, then look back up and fly flat. And it's going to make you fly faster, and it will get you a further distance. You'll cover more ground doing that. Number 3, I'm not sure if it goes any further than this, but what me and my mates have found out so far is if you're flying somewhere far from the plane, that's all we really seem to do. 850 meters is the optimal distance away from your target to jump. So if you're 850 meters away from the place you want to land, you will land there safely. There's no worries about it. Just use the Dolphin Dive kind of technique and you'll be fine. And now into the main, like the general tips and tricks. There's 22 of these that I've got. And that's why this is an ultimate guide and not like a top 10 tips and blah blah blah. Some of these are going to sound like common sense, but at the same time, for new players that don't know how to play the game, haven't experienced battle royales, these will help you out. Number 1, get in, get out. Do not spend too long looting. Grab everything at the start and just sort your inventory out as you're moving. Don't worry too much about your inventory at the start. This is a very fast-paced battle royale game. Number 2, do not spread too far from your team. If you've soloed and you're with another 2 random players, they want to go somewhere, you're like, no, I want to go hot zone or whatever, just give it a rest. Go with your team and help them in the fight. 3 players fighting another team is much better than 1. Number 3, ping items that can help your team. Andy is terrible at doing this, he never ever does it, and there's always useful items around him. If you just press your right bumper on Xbox, you can ping the items so that it comes up in the kill feed, and there's talk between your team, like through the character's dialogue, that tells you where an item is. If you've got a blue chest, you pick up a purple one, you're going to drop the blue one, so ping it, because someone on your team might only have a white, and that blue chest could save their life and get you the win. Number 4 is to position yourself well in the circle. The circle is very important in this game. If you're outside it, it's going to kill you over time. If you're inside it, chances are there's a hell of a lot of teams with you. This battle royale is different to others in terms of players. This one only has 60 players in teams of 3. The majority of other battle royales have like squads of 4, solos, duos, but they're 100 players. This is only 60, and for some reason, through experience, your position matters a hell of a lot more in this game than it does in any other battle royale. Just because it's so fast paced, there could be a team that's running in from the circle, you're already in the circle. If you was mid-circle, you might not encounter them, but because you're standing at the edge of the circle, they might get the drop on you and kill you all. Number 5, do not spend too long in the same spot. Me and my mates are suckers for this, but 9 times out of 10, if you're just inside the circle, you're standing up on a cliff edge or something like that, you're going to get attacked from behind. It's just a thing that happens in games, you're always shot in the back, but on this game it's fairly common, so just make sure you're moving around, never ever stand still, but also don't spend too long in the same spot. Even if it's just moving from cover to cover, you might move up or down a tier on a mountain or something, just don't spend too long in that same spot. Number 6, balloons are your friend. Look around in the sky for a yellow cable that's got a balloon attached to the top. Go to that balloon if you're far away from the circle or you need to get out of a sticky situation. Ride up the cable, then you're going to free fall. You move a lot faster doing this, and it can be very helpful. Number 7, get used to the recoil control on different weapons. Try using the different fire modes too. From mine and Connor's gameplay experience, we found that the Hemlock is much better on single fire. You can fire it very quick, like if you just spam your right trigger, it fires as quick as you can pull the trigger, and it's a lot more accurate. There's less recoil because it's not a burst. And not only that, the flatline I'm starting to enjoy on single fire a bit more than full auto. Number 8, the Prowler can be changed from a 5-round burst to full auto if you can find the select fire attachment for it. The same goes with a triple take or Peacekeeper that has a separate attachment that kind of lets you sort your shots out. Like with the triple take, it's a 3-round energy sniper rifle. I think it's a precision choke, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But with that on the triple take, it's going to stop the bullet spread being so far apart because it's basically going to charge your shots. Also for the Wingman, you have the Skull Piercer Rifling. That comes in very handy because it gives you better damage from your headshots. Number 9, care packages contain the best loot. You can only get the Kraber 50 cal sniper or the Mastiff shotgun from them at the moment, but make sure you choose your shots wisely with these weapons as they come with limited ammo and you can't find any more ammo for them. Number 10, when someone on your team goes down, if they're firsted, instead of just being straight out of the game, you can go up to their death box and interact with it to grab their banner. Then there's green markers on the map, you can take their banner too, and it's a respawn beacon, so it's going to get them back into the fight. And number 11 is linked in with this. Players that are spawned back in through these respawn beacons will need to retrieve their stuff from their death box, or they have to start looting all over again. Number 12, make sure you are using your abilities. They are there for a reason, they are very helpful. Sometimes they can be the most important thing that's going to help you get a win. Make sure you're using them when they're available. Number 13, the supplies ship, the massive thing that flies in as you're flying across the map. You can land directly on that before it's in position, and if you're the quickest there, it normally contains some pretty cool loot. Number 14, the hot zone isn't always good loot, so don't rely on it to have the best gear available, although you can find a fully kitted golden gun like a legendary gun. But bear in mind, if you find one of those, you cannot change the attachments. You can still go around and pick up ammo for them. Like if you get a Peacekeeper, you can still pick up more shotgun shells. But if you pick up a Peacekeeper, and for some reason it's got a 6 to 10 times scope on it, you cannot switch any of the attachments out. So just make sure you're comfortable with that gun before you go thinking, oh yeah, I've got a fully kitted gun, then you can't use it and you die. Number 15, this is quite obvious to most gamers. Have your headset and your game sound turned up as loud as possible without it bursting your eardrums and stuff like that, and without it annoying relatives and things. Because enemy movement is a massive thing in most games, but Battle Royales is super important, and by having your sound turned up, you're going to hear them better. But for me, like with a lot of YouTubers and streamers, we have to have our sound turned down so that the gameplay sound doesn't overtake our voices. I'm still trying to find a balance for it myself because I don't want it too low in game, but I don't want to be overtaken by the gameplay sound when I'm talking. So I have mine on 45, but then Connor has his on full because he doesn't stream or anything, so people don't need to hear him over his gameplay sound. So he's kind of my ears when he goes down or something. Or just in general, if we're together in the game, he's my ears. Number 16. In this game, something I really like, there is no full damage at all. You could jump off the highest part of the map, you will not take a single bit of full damage, and there is no friendly fire. You can spray an entire mag into one of your teammates, it will not damage them, This is a really good thing because especially if you're playing with randoms, because there's no solos or duos, you have to be in a team of 3. If one of your teammates is toxic, they're a little bit triggered that you picked up something that they wanted, they cannot down you, they cannot deal any damage to you at all. And along with this, any abilities you or your team use will not harm your team. So if you're using Caustic, you've got the Nox gas, your team can stand in it as well as you, they will not take damage. And it goes with any ability. Number 17, hold your jump button to climb. You do not need to spam it. Your character will climb as high as possible and grab onto any ledge that's within their distance, like their reaching distance. And this can be used to get to a much better vantage point, but simply just hold the button, it's going to do the rest for you. Number 18, this is another thing I really like about this Battle Royale. All attachments auto-equip to weapons when you pick them up, so if you've got like an AR or something like the Hemlock, and you find an extended mag for it, you've just got to pick it up, it's going to auto-equip to your gun. And when you switch to a new weapon, all the attachments that are available to use on the new weapon will be switched from your old. For an example, if you find a Peacekeeper shotgun and you've got a holographic 1x on it, you switch over to the Wingman, the holographic will switch to the Wingman because it's available on that gun. Number 19, Legendary Armor comes with an added perk. You can find Legendary Armor, which is Golden Armor, and all pieces come with an added perk. The Golden Knockdown Shield will allow you to auto revive yourself once, so that will take a little bit of stress off your team if you're in a bit of a fight, like a bit of a situation. The helmet will allow you to recharge your abilities faster, so if you're using someone that takes a long time, like Lifeline's ultimate takes a little bit longer than others, if you've got the golden helmet, your abilities are going to recharge that a little bit quicker. If you do a finisher, so when you down an enemy, you go up to them and you press your interact button, or hold it, sorry, you're going to do a finisher. If you have the golden chest equipped, it will refill your shields completely. So if you've got low shields, there's a downed enemy, go up to them, do the finisher, that will give you all your shields back. And finally, the backpack. The golden backpack will allow you to use healing items much faster. So if you're using Lifeline, you've got a golden backpack, you're pretty much going to get instant healing. Like obviously not that quick, but it's going to be a hell of a lot faster than normal. Number 20. When you find the ultimate accelerants, make sure you use them. They're a little bit of blue loot that's fairly common, and it will increase your ultimate ability percentage by 20%. I'm not sure if that's for all legends, but with Lifeline, which is the legend I use, her ultimate increases by 20% with each of these accelerants. And especially for early game, if you can't find yourself some good like chest or helmet, like you can't find good armor, yet you can find 5 of these ultimate accelerants, you're going to be able to drop in a care package. And in those care packages normally comes a purple chest or helmet. Sometimes you get a knockdown shield, but they still help out that little bit. Number 21. When you hear or see a care package coming in, check if there's a blue beacon in the sky, because if there is, it's a normal supply drop that's got some awesome loot in it, like the Kraber or the Mastiff shotgun. And if it's not, that means there's a Lifeline character that's called in their ultimate, and you'll know where the enemies are. So as I said when we was talking about the legends and their abilities, when Lifeline calls in that care package, it comes in pretty quick, but the trail of it dropping in from the sky can give away your position, or it can let you know where enemy teams are. And last but not least, number 22, Mirage is the only legend that lets you use an ability whilst you're flying. Hit your left bumper to send a decoy in the direction you're facing, and enemy teams might think their drop is more crowded than it is, and you could get the entire place to yourself. We spoke about that one through the legends, like when I was talking about the classes, but in the first place I wasn't going to be doing the legend classes, like the character classes. In this video I was going to do it separate, but then I thought I'd turn it into an ultimate guide, and I'd just pack everything in there, so that you guys only have one video to watch, and hopefully these tips have helped you out. Let me know in the comments if this video has helped you get a win, if you've played better, got more kills because you've lowered your sensitivity, you didn't think of doing that or something. That's going to be the end of it. Thank you for watching.